Every decade, ska dies. In every decade, it comes back. 1960s Jamaica, late 70s Britain, early 80s Berkeley, California, the 2000s underground, different scenes, same rhythm. Why does this genre refuse to disappear? Ska shouldn't still exist. It's been mocked, commercialized, declared dead more times than most genres survive, and yet it keeps resurfacing. Not because it's nostalgic, but because it fits moments of instability. History is any kind of indicator ska is about to come back in a big way. Because every time the world feels unstable, economically, politically, and culturally, that offbeat rhythm resurfaces. And right now, we're in one of those cycles. Ska was born in 1960s Jamaica. It wasn't novelty music, it was independence era sound. Post-colonial energy, a country figuring itself out in real time. Offbeat rhythm wasn't just danceable, it was restless. And the artists there weren't chasing radio hits, they were soundtracking social change, and that matters. Because ska doesn't rise during comfort, it rises during instability. One of the earliest legends in ska is definitely Prince Buster. Check him out.
All day, so don't you hear me?
Fast forward, late 70s, economic collapse in the UK. Two-Tone Records takes that Jamaican blueprint and fuses it with punk urgency. The specials weren't goofy, they were anxious, political, and sharp.
It's up to you, to you. It's up to you, to you. It's up to you, to you.
The dance beat stayed, the frustration got louder. But then something important happens. In the late 80s, a band called Operation Ivy doesn't just revive ska, they weaponize it.
We're Operation Ivy from the East Bay, and therefore here we go once again.
By the late 80s, ska wasn't mainstream, it wasn't trendy, it was underground again, and that's exactly where it found new life. In 1987, a small venue in Berkeley called 924 Gilman, something clicked. Not polished, not radio friendly, not trying to revive nostalgia, just raw urgency. 924 Gilman Street wasn't a corporate venue, it was DIY, all ages, community ran, and that environment shaped the sound. Operation Ivy didn't treat ska like a party music, they treated it like acceleration. Short songs, no filler, melody crashing into distortion. It wasn't clean, it wasn't ironic, it felt like pressure with rhythm underneath it. Operation Ivy lit the fuse, but in the mid-90s, ska didn't stay underground, it spilled outward. By the mid-90s, major labels were circling, Warped Tour was growing, MTV was hungry for something energetic and different, and bands like Goldfinger stepped in to fill that space. They kept the bounce, but the edges were cleaner. Hooks were bigger, choruses built for radio. This wasn't DIY basement anymore. This was festival stages. This was polished production. This was ska brushing up against the mainstream. Some purists hated it. Some called it watered down. But here's the truth. Accessibility isn't the same as betrayal. While some bands leaned into radio hooks, others started pushing the genre somewhere more ambitious. By the early 2000s, Streetlight Manifesto wasn't trying to make ska bigger. They were trying to make it deeper. This wasn't 3 chords and a horn stab. This was layered arrangement, counter melodies, horn lines weaved through distortion like they were in a classical score. Where Operation Ivy felt urgent, Streetlight felt relentless. The tempo pushed forward, the horn section didn't decorate the song, they drove it. Everything moved at once, guitars upstroking, drums sprinting, brass punching through like alarms. It sounded chaotic, but it was controlled chaos. Lyrically, it wasn't cartoon rebellion. It was existential, internal conflict, self-doubt, systems that you just can't outrun. The anxiety wasn't just social anymore, it was personal. Streetlight proved something important. Ska didn't have to stay simple. It didn't have to stay nostalgic. It could grow up. It could be intricate. It could feel like urgency wrapped in an orchestra. All that matters because genre evolves. it stops being a trend, it becomes a language. And Streetlight Manifesto are great at crafting that language. Look around. Economic pressure, digital isolation, fragmented culture. We've seen this pattern before, and every time the world feels unstable, that rhythm resurfaces. Upstroke guitar, driving drum, horns that sound like alarms. Ska doesn't die. It reemerges when people need to move through uncertainty. And right now, it feels like we're there again.